G'day guys, Aaron here from Shooting Stuff Australia, and once again I'm joined by Jason from AHP. We're going to be talking about the issue that everyone would have heard about the footballers and their gun licenses being lost. But before we do that, if you guys could hit the subscribe button and hit the like button and share this video, it would really be appreciated. I actually got monetized finally by YouTube on the new channel. And 2 minutes later, they demonetize pretty much every single video. So you can also find it was a good one. I didn't think it'd take that long. I thought it'd take longer than that actually. But so you can find Jason and me on all our Instagram and Facebook links down below, and we are also on Patreon. If you like these videos, feel free to have a look at our Patreon pages. All the links are down below. So a few days ago, it was last weekend, 3 footballers were caught breaking these social distancing laws. They were out camping, riding motorbikes on a beach with no helmets. That was one of the things they got them on. And then, okay, not so smart, they were shooting a legal rifle, and one had a legal gun license on private property. But
I think it was a straight pull shotgun. I think it was. It's the one that I saw in the
yeah, it was
article.
Yep. And so one was licensed, one wasn't. The guy that wasn't licensed, probably not the best thing to have done, was posted it up to his Facebook page and got pinged for it. So the 3 of them all got done for the social distancing garbage about the getting too close or doing whatever the crap they're not allowed to do. And 2 of them got done for firearms charges. One lost his license and his guns, and the other one is just up on firearms charges. So we're not going to debate the fact that they were footballers or anything like that. It's just, to me and to Jason, this is why we're making this video, it is extreme double standards of the highest regard. With David Elliott, the police minister in New South Wales at the time, firing full auto submachine guns with no permit, no license. He's even an unlicensed firearms owner, and there was no permit whatsoever available for him to use these guns, and he's got off scot-free. So we got 2 blokes, one that is a licensed gun holder, letting his mate shoot a gun, no big deal, who cares? He was breaking the law, and we don't say he should break the law, but really it shouldn't be blown up into what it really was, and the guy shouldn't lose his gun license over it. No one should. No one was hurt or anything. And then you have a politician shooting full auto machine guns and getting off absolutely everything scot-free. So, Jason, you can take it from here. I know you've got a few strong feelings.
Yeah, this is what I find interesting, man. This social distancing crap is just rubbish. Obviously, these guys are targeted. Now, I know you're not a big football fan, but I mean, these guys are pretty much the top echelon, of players within the NRL. I watch a bit of football myself, so they're pretty much right up there. They're out there having a good time. Of course, the spotlight's on them. We always say follow the law as it is. But again, most countries you can go to around the world. I just did an interview with a guy from New Zealand. You can go over there and shoot guns with a person that is a supervised gun owner. So, it's a victimless crime. If it is a crime, it's the smallest of smallest crimes. Yet you have the police minister who shot a Category R prohibited firearm and basically getting off scot-free. Now, I wanted to go here about 4 weeks ago. And this is why I say letter writing doesn't work, but I thought I would write into, so I rang them up, spoke to a guy named JT. This is from the Premier's office. And I said, hi, I spoke to JT this morning from the Premier's office on the phone regarding Police Minister David Elliott's handling of a prohibited firearm. My questions are as follows. 1, who is investigating the crime? 2, is the minister exempt from the Firearms Act of 96? If so, which instrument exempts him from the Firearms Act? 3, why has the minister not been stood down for breaching the Firearms Act of 1996? 4, why has the minister not been charged with firearms offences? 5, does the Premier have one rule for licensed law-abiding shooters in New South Wales and one rule for ministers? 6, is the police minister above the law? I'm currently writing an article and would like a response as soon as convenient. Now, I sent that on March the 20th, 2020. mate, to absolutely no response back. I followed up again on April 28th. I said, hi, I've written multiple emails regarding the response to my questions below. Can please someone advise what the holdup is responding to my email? Now, obviously, they know the police minister's in hot water for the fact that we've absolutely received absolutely no response from the Premier's office. I also emailed the New South Wales Firearms Registry as well and said, is a P650 form, which is a try-shooting form, which allows people to shoot guns that are range supervised, is there a P650 for a Category R firearm? On my Facebook page, I'm seeing a lot of people that just really aren't understanding a couple of key elements here. One, he's not a police officer. Two, he's not a corrections officer. He is a civilian like me and you. Therefore, he's under the Firearms Act of 1996. I said he's not a police officer. He's not a corrections officer. Therefore, he must abide by the Firearms Act. I don't think these guys really did much wrong. Yeah, sure, they shouldn't have, been using a firearm when they weren't licensed to do so. I tell people not to break the law, and they should have done the right thing. But in the grand scheme of things, if we're going to have one rule for the football players, then we should have one rule for the minister as well. And the fact that they haven't got even remotely back to my emails proves that obviously they're either hiding something. There's something majorly wrong here, because I know a lot of people that have written into them and they're just not responding to absolutely any of it. So again, it just seems to be at this stage, there's a double standard that law-abiding shooters are treated different than government ministers, and the police minister, who David Elliott is a big supporter of the National Firearms Agreement, won't even abide by his own laws. And like I said before, I see a lot of people on my Facebook page saying, well, he's under range supervision, and people are actually getting a bit upset towards me and other parties on Facebook going, you guys don't know what you're talking about. But you don't understand that you can't get a P650 try-shooting form for a Category R prohibited firearm. It just doesn't, as far as I'm aware, it doesn't exist. And if it does exist, all they had to do was write back and said he's exempt because of this, this, and this, and that would have been the end of it. But that hasn't happened. And if that was the case, and you could shoot Category R prohibited firearms, then what we'd be seeing in across the country, especially in New South Wales, if this is where it was legal, we would see people, gun shops, say, and gun ranges, SSAA, Shooters Union, or your small gun shops, they'd be having people come in being able to shoot those types of firearms like you do in America if you go to Las Vegas. The fact is you can't do it. That's why we don't have organizations and ranges with access to pump shotguns, semi-automatic shotguns, submachine guns that you're able to shoot under a permit for, say, a $300 fee like you do in Vegas. We just don't have that. So again, people need to get back to reality and say, well, just because he's under a range being supervised doesn't mean he's exempt from the law. David Elliott loves these gun laws. He's a big proponent of them. Now, all of a sudden, he feels that he should be exempt from being prosecuted, which we know he shouldn't.
Yes, exactly. Another thing I saw on Facebook was no fault of anybody's, but people saying, well, I thought that you could shoot under supervision on private property. Well, I thought that up to about a year or so ago, when I actually inquired from a friend coming over from America who wanted to make some YouTube videos with me over here, and he has to apply for a visitor's permit, weapons licensing told me, and that's when they told me, oh, I've changed the laws that you cannot supervise an unlicensed person on private property at all. That's what they told me here in Queensland. So a lot of people just don't realise that you can't. So now I guess everyone does know you can't do it, but it was never really public knowledge. Thousands of people, or hundreds of comments I've seen. Oh, I thought you could do that, and but you just can't. No, and I dare say that's probably what these two blokes thought as well. Or not in their defence of what they did, but they probably just thought that as well. Oh, we can shoot under supervision, right? You can shoot under supervision. Well, what David Elliott said, he was doing it under good faith of the corrections officer. So why doesn't this footballer say in court, I was doing it under good faith from my mate because he was a license owner?
Exactly.
Right? Same sort of defence.
Funny how they were only a couple of days, like bang, straight onto it. Football players got to look like we're doing something. So what they do is that within 2 days, they'd already lay charges. What are we?
$50,000 fine from the NRL. Then they suspended 30,000 of that.
Yeah.
And they're looking at scrubbing them from the contest, I think.
But 48 hours, right? charges laid already within 48 hours. Police minister, 5 weeks, swept
Yeah.
under the carpet. I mean,
And
I don't want to say corruption because I want to give them the benefit of the doubt at this stage, but obviously it appears that me and you, Aaron, especially if you're in New South Wales, there's one rule for us and there's one rule for government officials. They love putting the laws in, but when they fall folly to these very, very complex gun laws, which they love so much. I mean, he's the police minister. Can you imagine? This is why they haven't responded to me, because if it was that simple, they'd be responding to me or anyone that's writing in with, here's the issue, here's where it's been sorted. Thank you, have a nice day. But they haven't done that. People are even writing. I wrote to the registry as well, and I said, is a category R firearm, can you get a P650 for that? Again, no response from them. Again, they've just ushered this under the carpet, hoping it's going to go away and everyone forgets about it. But again, like I said, this would be extremely bad public relations that a police minister done on gun laws, which is the ones that he's supposed to know the law himself, but hasn't followed the law and now expects to get away with it in good faith.
yes, we talked quite a bit about this in another video. I'll
Yeah.
put the link down below if you guys want to catch up on what actually happened. But what he could be, David Elliott could be facing with a category R firearm is 14 years in prison. That's what they said on the news. That's the maximum penalty for what he did. And what did he do? He snitched on all his work colleagues, saying, "Oh well, hundreds of others have been doing this, so you should investigate them." That's what he basically said, something on those lines. That was in the newspaper or in the online articles. So he's really quick to do that. But from what I read up in one article on, no, it was on Facebook, but they were saying that that they're actually investigating the corrections department on this, not him, but the corrections department,
But
and
then
the
that goes back to the
guy that was
football
handling
player.
him.
Yeah, that goes back
Yeah.
to the football players ago then. Then why aren't they just investigating the gun owner, which I think is Latrell Mitchell?
Yeah.
He's the one that had the gun license. So why is Josh Adokar being getting charged with firearms offences if in good faith, for an example, he thought he was okay to shoot it? So if it's good for the police minister to come up with this excuse, then it should be good for everyone else too. And I'll probably follow up with my email again, a third email, because that one was sent on April 28th at 11:59 p.m. So 2.5 days ago. So I want to follow up again and say, again, what is the hold up on these questions? And if I don't get an answer within another 2 or 3 days, I'll probably just ring in the office and say, mate, I just can't get an answer on this. I'm trying to write an article and use some information for a show. What's happening? Man, they just swept it under the carpet. So I don't know. I got a feeling maybe I could be wrong. Maybe we haven't heard the last of Mr. David Elliott and something may happen, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it's just being swept under the carpet. Sorry, guys, they don't really care. One rule for you, one rule for everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. I believe that as well.
And it gives me, in most countries, you can shoot supervised. So what's the problem? What's really all this beat up? You got people at Bunnings, JB Hi-Fi, thousands of people in shopping centres. They're worried about a couple of football players riding motorbikes on a beach somewhere. I mean, come on,
and
really?
And camping on private property.
Yeah. Who are they going to infect? There's 3 people there. Come on.
Yeah, no, I think this whole firearms thing was a beat up because they made it public that they were not social distancing. That's probably what it all is. In all fairness, okay, they did break the law, pathetic law. At most, maybe a slap on the hand, not because they're footballers, it should be for anyone, and maybe a minor, say a $300-400 fine. Don't do this again. You're not meant to be doing it. That should be it. Not lose your guns, not you lose your license. That's just totally over the top.
But don't forget, if he's found guilty of this, he loses his license in New South Wales for 10 years.
Yeah, and can't travel overseas for firearms charges.
Yeah, exactly. Probably can't go to America, won't be able to go to Canada, probably the UK. Once you've been done with firearms charges, man, forget travelling anywhere pretty much. Once they see a firearms offence on your record, they'll know about it because it'll be on your record and they'll probably have access to it going to a said country. So you're really in big trouble. And for what? Over a victimless crime, a couple of guys having fun with a firearm under the supervision of a law-abiding firearm owner at the time. So what's really the issue? Again, just a beat up. It's a couple of footballers. They've got to drag them through the mud, all while they let their police minister go and break whatever pretty much laws he wants to without anything happening to him. There's no consequences for a police minister. They can just go do whatever they want and nothing happens. So, and 2 weeks charged, You know, 5 weeks later, nothing. And these guys, they're onto them straight away within 48 hours. Just absurd, man.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting one to follow, actually, with the police minister and these footballers to see what happens to them in the end if they do absolutely lose everything, which I don't think they should. They should maybe just get a fine, as I said, but they shouldn't lose their gun licenses and their guns because they're not going out being bad people. You know, they're just like normal people, just having fun with guns on private property. Nothing wrong with that.
If
So
only the if only the police were so excited, or as excited, to charge a couple of football players as they are excited to charge the police minister, wouldn't that be good?
yeah, or any other criminals doing real crimes, pretty much.
You know?
So yeah, well, it's going to be a very interesting one to see what the outcome this is, and I'm sure this isn't the last of it we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So, once again, guys, just hit that subscribe button, thumbs up, lay a comment, tell us what you think. What do you think of this whole police minister fiasco? And I'm pretty sure you got some heated comments about the footballers too, because from what I've seen on Facebook, yeah, there's a few real doozy comments on there. So please don't be shy. I can write it down in the comments and we'll read it and we'll go through it and maybe have a bit of a talk about what has been said. We are looking at doing a weekly live stream podcast as well, so to get you guys involved. But once again, we're just trying to work out these computer programs to get it all going. So keep an eye out for that as well. So have a good week, guys, and thanks for watching.